Welcome back to episode 11 in our series of strange things found in ancient prayer book. Today's episode is a true story about a man who fairly recently read the Quran, and what he read surprised him. Let's check it out and dive straight in. The Quran is a book that was revealed to a man from the desert. In fact, I'm sitting in a desert city right now, and the Prophet Mohammed actually lived only about 500 odd miles from where I sit today in that direction. The temperature today is about 38 degrees and it's not even summer yet. In the summer, it will go above 60 degrees Celsius. I tell you this because I'm sitting here and I can feel the environment that the Prophet, peace be upon him, lived in and grew up in. I want you to get a sense of that feel too. This is about as far from water as you can get, let alone the ocean. To experience a storm at sea feels like a whole world away. But what surprises me is that we still actually know very little about sea storms. There's a phenomenon that occurs during sea storms, and these are called internal waves. The first documented report of internal waves was in about 1893 by a Norwegian oceanographer called Fridtjof Nansen. But even today, it is still being researched. There's a rather riveting read from the journal in 2012 called Simulating the Long-Range Swell of Internal Waves Generated by Ocean Storms. It's still being researched because they don't fully understand it. By the way, it's not really riveting unless you're into oceanography, which I'm not. Anyhow, could Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, have known about internal waves 1400 years ago? The truth is he didn't, but the author of the Quran did. Before I share the verse, I want to share that true story with you. About 40 years ago, a Canadian sailor was given a copy of the Quran by a Muslim friend, and he read it, cover to cover. He wasn't given any information about the book or its origins, and none of the miracles that I've spoken about in this series, for example, none of them were mentioned. The man had spent his life in the merchant navy, and over the years he had experienced many storms at sea. He had also experienced the internal waves during some of these storms, and that's the same waves that I just mentioned earlier. When he returned the Quran, he asked, "So this Muhammad, was he a sailor?" It was an odd question for his friend who had lent him the Quran in the first place, and he had to explain that Muhammad had never been to sea. In fact, he lived in the middle of a desert, and about as far away from water as you could possibly get. Upon hearing this, the sailor embraced Islam and became a Muslim on the spot. Here is the verse, and then I'll explain why he did that. Chapter 24, verse 40. Or else they are deeds like the depths of darkness upon the abysmal sea, made yet more dark by wave billowing over wave, with black clouds above it. All depths of these darkness, layers upon layer, when one holds up his hand and can hardly see it. For he to whom God gives no light whatsoever has he. The verse very accurately describes a storm at sea, and amazingly talks about waves within waves, or the internal waves I mentioned earlier. But it was all the other details which made him realize that the author knew exactly what a storm at sea was like. The description wasn't what most people thought a storm was like, but the sailor realized that whoever wrote the book had been in the middle of a storm, and he knew exactly what that storm was like. But the thing that amazed him more than any other was that Muhammad, peace be upon him, could not have authored the Quran, because he could not read or write. For him, there was only one explanation, and that was that the Quran was from God. We are all experts in something. I encourage you to see what the Quran has to say about your area of speciality. This is just one of many miracles in the Quran, and I'll be covering a different type of miracle over this 30-day period. I would love to share them all with you, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on WhatsApp, all you need to do is click the link in the message below, and that will open up YouTube. You can subscribe from there. Finally, please share this video. is the best way to help us out. We want it to go out to as many people as possible. Thanks once again for watching another episode. We'll be back tomorrow with another great miracle of the Quran.